Hey guys, I'm Ethan Moore from Stockroom Supply, and yesterday was Canada Day here. Basically celebrates the birth of Canada and got me thinking about Canada and the woodworking world and what innovations or inventions have been most impactful by Canadians in the woodworking industry, specifically the hobbyist woodworking industry. And a lot of you guys can guess the first one I'm going to tell you about, and that is the Robertson Screw. That was designed in the early 1900s. Still to this day, the best holding screw that you can get, and this is used beyond even the woodworking industry, but it's a tapered square design, really awesome. Now if you're an American or anywhere else in the world and you're at a Canadian shop and they ask you to grab the red Robbie, they mean this, red Robertson screwdriver. And another funny thing, my dad, he made this joke all the time, especially in Canada. This is our drum sanding kit. He called these guys to adjust the top Robertson micro adjusting knobs, and that joke was a hit in Canada. It wasn't quite as funny in America because they didn't get it quite the same, because they weren't as familiar with the Robertson screws. But that's probably the number one, the most impactful Canadian invention designed in Milton. Probably the second most impactful invention, in my opinion, would be this right here. This is the Excalibur Scroll Saw, the very first double parallel arm machine, and I'll post a link up top talking about what that means, because there's a lot of variety of scroll saws out here. But just about, and now this was designed in the 90s by a company called Somerville Design, but just about every major manufacturer of high-end machines like Rikon, Seiko, Pegasus, DeWalt, Delta, and more have basically use this exact design that has changed so little from the original Canadian design right here, even though they're made in different countries all over the world. But yeah, that is a pretty cool thing made by a Canadian. Now the last one, a little bit more nebulous, but that would be basically the router jigs by the Router Workshop. This was a program on PBS with the Rosendahl brothers out of Manitoba. And they made a whole variety of different jigs that companies all over have basically copied and are selling, and a lot of people make them themselves. But these are knockoffs right here of their jigs for making the fancy dovetails. They also make a jig like this for box joint. Now, Oak Park was the name of their company, and they still exist, but it looks like they're just selling off old stock. And actually, these guys, there's a small overlap with Stockroom Supply. We were just getting our start where these guys were at their height. One of the Rosendahl brothers was at the Toronto Wood Show, and this was the very first show that my dad did solo, without being under another company or another umbrella. And he came up to my dad, and we were right across from him, I guess. This was before my time. And he told my dad very kindly, but apologizing, like, oh, I'm sorry that you're across from me, because unfortunately I'm gonna have a pretty big crowd here. You're gonna be talking to the back of people's heads all weekend. And my dad said, rest assured, not gonna be a problem. And if you knew my dad, he was very boisterous, so he had no issue. It was actually a really big benefit for him. He was selling buffing compound at the time, and I know it was a really good show. Now a couple, I guess, honorable mentions too. We got One Way, probably one of the very first premium lathes that were made. We got a Veritas with their hand planes, razor tip with the wood burners, even some of our stuff like the Flatmaster drum sander maybe changed the way people think about drum sanders, and our Little Ripper maybe changed the way people think about blade drift on a bandsaw. Small potatoes, I think, in comparison to these three things right here. Anyway, if I missed any, let me know. But if you're a Canadian, I think you have a lot to be proud of here. And if you're not, you're welcome. Anyway, if anybody else has any questions, you can email me at info@stockroomsupply.com or just comment on the video. Thank you very much.